Thank you, Chair. First of all, I want to thank you, the organizer, in particular Rico del Castello, for inviting me in this very interesting conference in Ottawa. So my focus will be on the Italian case, but I don't want to have a national approach. The idea is to give you information about our country, about my country, sorry, in the European context, because you can understand many things about Europe if you know more about what's happening in this moment in my country, in Italy. So several surveys have revealed that the European public debate on migration is oftentimes distorted. The media and politics are mainly responsible for this. This is partly the reason why, despite never having direct engagement with migrants, most people in Europe have negative opinion of them. The last Eurobarometer report investigated on how European population perceive migration and migrants. The sentence, as you can see on the slide, I think the immigration into my country is a positive thing, produced different reactions within the European population. More than 50% of people from Western Europe, Scandinavia, Germany and the UK, the green colors, believe that immigration is a positive thing. In Sweden, the percentage is higher, at 60 and 70%. On the contrary, in the Eastern Europe countries, the red-orange colors, the percentage is lower, between 10–30%, including in Italy, while in Greece it is less than 10%, and you can imagine why. But if we compare these figures with the prevalence of the refugees in the overall population, we have an interesting scenario, a sort of paradox, and you can see it in the slide. Where the prevalence of refugees is high, the perception is positive. Where the presence of refugees is low, the perception is less positive or negative, as in Greece, or in the Eastern Europe country. Therefore, in some European countries, the difference between reality and perception, the gap between reality and perception, is increasing, mainly due to a negative narrative on this phenomenon, and not due to the presence of refugees in this country. Often politicians instill fear on the risk of an invasion or on the risk of an Islamization process. For instance, in Hungary and in Italy, the Prime Minister and the Minister of Interior instrumentalized the issue of migration in this manner during the last European election campaign. This is happening mainly in those countries where the presence I mentioned before of migrants is very low or is in the European average. So, in Europe, as you can see in these slides, the average gap between reality and perception is around 9.5%. The European population believes that for every 100 persons in Europe, 17 are immigrants. The real figure is 7.5%. It's interesting to look at two important countries as immigration destination, Italy and Sweden. In the first one, in Italy, the gap is the highest in Europe, 17.4%. It means that in Italy, people believe that 25% of the population are immigrants. The reality is 80.5%. At the opposite, we have Sweden, where the gap is only 0.3%. But the incidence of the refugees in these countries is the highest, probably it's one of the highest in Europe. And the last European elections confirm this trend. In Italy, the Lega political party, known for its anti-immigration stance, won the elections. Its electoral campaign has been conducted mainly on migration issues, playing on the fear of the people and criminalizing the tradition of solidarity towards migrants. In several public appearances, the Italian Ministry of Interior spoke against the organizations involved in pro-migrant activities. In order to legitimize and secure an agreement with the Libyan government, in order to stop the migration flow from North Africa, the Italian government started to attack the NGOs involved in search and rescue operations in the central Mediterranean Sea. At the same time, the government started to delegitimize the Italian third sector, even Caritas Italiana that I represent here, by accusing us that the aim of our activities is only to make business with the management of migration, of migrant reception system. So I want to close this first part saying that in this way, the Italian government, and not only the Italian government, is breaking an old pact between the state institutions and the civil society. This pact was founded on the principle of subsidiarity. And this principle is in our constitution. And what means? The principle of subsidiarity is where the civil societies is available to collaborate with state institutions in a fair manner, giving time and resources for building a shared welfare. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.